Hello and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It is Monday night, so we are playing Vaesen, Mythic Britain and Ireland. It's our first stream back for 2023 for Vaesen, so it's exciting. We have there are links below the video to our YouTube if you watch it on Twitch if you watch it on YouTube, our social media accounts, our Discord, which you should join and come and chat to us and the other lovely people who enjoy watching things on the channel, and also our Patreon. If you want to support the channel, you can do that there. Other things we do on the channel are on Wednesday nights we do Simba Room, and we have usually one weekend day a month, but this month 2 weekend days because last month's had to be moved. We do a different one-shot adventure with different GMs and systems and players. So the next one is the 22nd of Jan, and is going to be The One Ring. So that's exciting. And on Saturday just gone, we had Alien, the third installment in Matt's game. So you should go back and watch all of those. We have a whole wealth of stuff on our YouTube that you can catch up on, including the previous episodes of Vaesen. So although be strange if you're watching this one having not watched the others, but then people appear, don't they? Anyway, it's the new year and everything's gone wrong. Let's do recaps from the previous session. Let's bring on Inga first, who plays Constance. Hi, Inga. Yes, the beginning of the previous session, the group had planned to head into town after having arrived at Lady Spence's home to investigate a missing drunkard in the town. So tell us what happened then.
We set off for the evening to go ultimately to the pub, but heading into town, we decide to walk rather than get a carriage. So we get some lanterns and off we go. Constance spots some lights kind of off the road about halfway along, and it's just a kind of quick flash. Could have just been something in the distance, maybe some other travellers or another carriage ahead somewhere. Just one of those things. Noted was a little bit odd and carried on. Didn't really make much of it at the time. But we arrived at the pub. Gail decided he was going to go off and have a bit of a wander about the town on his own and keep stretching his legs. And B checked out the hitching post where the guy's horse is usually tied up. And otherwise we went into the pub to go and see what was what. You're on mute, Jonny.
Worth noting as well,
everything's gone wrong.
It's the new year and everything's gone wrong. Worth noting as well that Hux hadn't come with you as he was tying up some other stuff. But when you walked into the pub, you discovered that he was there. So let's bring on Sam, who plays Magnus Huxley. Hi, Sam.
Hello. You really made me want to deliberately leave my mute on just to perpetuate that joke.
Yeah, so Hux had bumped into a friend.
Yeah. So when everyone else arrived in town, me having got the message while I was traveling nearby, so I happened to arrive pretty well on time to this kind of little mystery. I was chatting with a friend called Margaret in the tavern, and she's just kind of a fellow traveller. Seems to have temporarily settled in this wee little village. Just happened to have met her while in the pub, and she was telling me. I kind of I could greet the other folks, but I was nattering when they got in. But I was nattering with her about if there was anything she could tell us, really, kind of help out with this little mystery, anything strange going on or whatever. And so Margaret did inform us that there was a rather odd woman who was seen around the village quite a lot. And maybe we should go check out. Maybe she had something odd about her. Maybe there was something a bit strange, and I don't know about the word mystical was quite used, but there was kind of a maybe an air or something to her. So her name was Gladys Pugh, and Margaret said she's not really frequented the tavern, but she's kind of seen more around the town. She's often following our host at the main house, who I've completely forgotten the name of, despite the fact you already said her in this session.
Lady Spence.
Thank you, Lady Spence. Yeah, she's often seen kind of trailing Lady Spence, which is a little odd because we certainly hadn't seen any evidence of her yet, and Lady Spence also didn't mention this woman at all, so that was a little confusing. But yeah, I think that was kind of all that I really got from Margaret, and then we had a few other questions at the tavern and a few other things we found out after that.
Yep. So let's bring on John, who plays B. Hey, John.
Hello.
So while before and after, Hooks was having those conversations, B was having a chat with the barman.
Yes. It kind of started just as a bit of an idle chat with a pointed purpose. B asked about the night in question, and the barman, who is called Robert, basically said that nothing was really out of the ordinary. It seemed just like a normal night, no weird strangers in the pub. The guy wasn't acting weird. But one weird thing was that when he left the door and climbed on his pony, he didn't ride past the window that he should normally ride past, which was weird, but maybe the barman just missed it. And that was more or less it for the first chat. And we all finished our drink and went outside and started actually looking around and looking at the hitching post, and found I can't remember who actually found it, but someone found a scrap of red fabric, which on questioning the barman I don't think recognized, but Henry had a really weird reaction to. He was not quite sure how he knew, but he was very sure that something magical or strange had happened involving this fabric.
Yeah.
And importantly, it wasn't red because it was soaked in blood, which we did check.
You did. Cool. Let's bring on Justin, who plays Gale, Mosling Forcemark. Always gets full name, always.
That's Mr. Gale, Mosling Forcemark to you.
Sir Mr. Gale, Mosling Forcemark.
Not yet, but one day.
Lord Sir Mr. So you decided that you were going to head back to Lady Spence's, and Gale noticed something on the way back, I believe.
Yeah, kind of hanging back from the rest of the group who were having far too much fun on this journey, admiring the roads as he walked along at night under the stars. He, not talking, not consumed by babble, was able to hear a strange sound on the road behind the group, which had been following us shortly after we left the town in the direction of the house, when there was no real discernible route that they could be going in apart from following us back to the house. There were no other roads or by roads or houses that we were really aware of in that direction. So when he was fairly sure that there was someone following us and we're in the middle of nowhere, he whipped round and asked if whoever was following us wanted to join us on the road for a nice evening walk. There's no need to walk only a few paces behind. And that's at that point, whipping around with the light, the figure darted off into a woods nearby. The rest of the group, believing Mosling, who hadn't drunk anything because he had arrived too late at the bar, decided that they would fan out and explore the woods to see if they could find this reprobate on the highway, who was dressed something like Bonneville, so not a real miscreant, but not someone that you would want to be encountering in a dark alley, and so. We found out, but all we could find was a fox in the woods, and no sign of this person. So we returned to the road and back to the house.
Cool. And finally, let's bring on Steve, who plays the aforementioned. Oh,
didn't we go back to the pub to ask the landlord of the pub first?
Oh yeah, we did go back to the pub first, and then there was no sign of anything. We went back to the house.
Yeah, but he did say
that somebody had left the pub afterwards.
I don't know if we got much information about them, but we did find out that there was definitely a person who wasn't
Not
a
someone from
local.
town.
Is that
That's
right?
true.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding
Yeah.
me of that, Sam.
And yes, the aforementioned, not quite a miscreant, Henry Bonneville. You returned to the house.
We did, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to chat about that, Steve?
Sure. Yeah. So Lady Spence, we met up with Lady Spence again, who saw Magnus for the first time and very kindly went off to make him a sandwich. It's very good, very good host. In doing so, she left the book she was reading behind, and Gail picked it up, looked at it briefly, and then dropped it as if it were a snake. And then made excuses and went to bed. So this book, Henry recovered it. It was called Regarding Fairies. So not quite sure what all that was about, but returned it to Lady Spence when she returned, and then we explained what we'd been doing, and that we asked whether she'd seen sight of any weird floating orbs of light off the roads, and she wasn't entirely certain. She started thinking about it. Then we explained the other things that we'd found, like the scrap of red cloth, and the fact that we'd been followed on the roads, and that indeed she might be being followed by this Gladys Pugh, which was all rather mysterious. So she offered the use of her library for us to do some research. We weren't going to do anything else that night, but I think we maybe planned to check the location of the orbs out the following day, maybe check the church records for Gladys Pugh, things like that. And then we retired for the evening, and nothing bad happened. At least nothing bad happened at the end of the last episode.
Had a quiet night.
The only other thing is I did take a book.
Oh, you
from
did,
the shelf
yes.
to take up to my room. So
A really gaudy one with
yeah,
yeah.
it was whatever looked like the most exciting book to pick up to have a skim through. But yeah, so I don't know if I can do like investigate some sort of roll to see if there's anything of interest or note in that. Or maybe it's just such an obviously useless book.
That will depend on the roll. So give me a roll. For it's learning, isn't it? I think, is it learning? Yeah.
If you say so, yeah, could be.
First Vaesen stream of
Yes.
the year.
Yeah.
What are the skills again?
No successes.
Okay. It's a children's book, full of fairy tales. There may be, it may be that if something happens and you come back and look at this, maybe there's a shred of truth in what's written in there. But at the moment, with it just being stories, there's not anything. You don't have enough currently to go on to figure out if there is anything relevant in this book.
The other thing we should do before we fully start
Yes.
XP from because we
did XP at the end of after the end of last session, because I forgot to do it on stream again. But everybody got 2, I think, which was for taking part in the session and for learning something.
But I think Gail got an extra one because
No.
Oh.
I thought he was
No.
going to, but he didn't, because the thing that happened related to not the dark secret, which does get you an extra XP, but a trauma, which doesn't get you an extra XP.
right.
Revealing secrets on his character sheet now.
Yeah. So morning rolls around.
Should
And
immediately
you
do a
all-
head count.
Wake up refreshed. The beds are incredibly comfortable. Smell of fresh linen. You smell cooking food as you awake. The air feels a little cold. It is late autumn now. But you can sort of sense that there is a fire lit somewhere downstairs. So you think that there'll be a warm area of the house, and you can kind of feel little bits of warmth sort of floating through the air from whatever's going on down there. And yes, sunlight is sort of fighting its way through whatever curtains you have in the room that you're staying in, and seems like a pleasant day.
The word "seems like" always feels so suspicious from a GM.
It's the beginning of the day.
But little did you know.
Yeah, we're heading downstairs and getting ready for the day promptly, nicely refreshed. Sounds good. I think Constance will be looking to see if that. I think the Lady Spencer said she was maybe going to have a look at some books that, you know, a bit of a short list, more useful short list. So she's going to see if that's ready yet to start flicking through over breakfast.
So do you think Constance is first down?
She'll probably be up fairly early, I think, but I don't know what everybody else is normally like.
Go on, John.
I was going to say B will be up early and dressed, but will not come down straight away because, you know, it'll take some time to get Adam ready.
Magnus is still snoring when everyone walks past his room.
Yeah,
Audibly, do you think? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you woke up in the night, then you struggle to go back to sleep if you're in an adjacent room sort of snoring.
Wow. Henry will have been sort of, I think, surveying the whatever landscape is visible from his window. Maybe sort of just before coming down, writing up a few notes on what had gone on the previous day, and then yes, head down to meet the others, maybe have some breakfast, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'll join them for breakfast. No need to wake Hux.
I think as I pass his door and he's still asleep, I'll send Adam in to wake him up.
Oh, love to see the trepidation on Adam's face.
Especially as Hux's boot hits him.
You're absolutely right. Hux does sleep in his boots.
It's the best way to make sure they don't get taken off you,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Those boots are so worn in, they've got no soles.
So if Constance gets downstairs first, James, the man in Lady Spence's employ, is sort of rushing across the downstairs hallway towards the kitchen. Morning, miss. Please head through there, and he points to the room that you've kind of been in, the sort of sitting room, and rushes off towards the kitchen, and then says, "Begging your pardon, miss. Sorry, burning," and runs back into the kitchen.
Yeah, I'll head through and see whatever's there, if there's any books laid out, or if it's just some food starting or anything.
Lady Spence is sitting in quite a nice dress with her sort of legs crossed, reading a book. You can see some fresh sort of hot tea in a pot in front of her, which you assume may be what James had temporarily left his burning food to provide. And she hears you enter and looks up and says, "Ah, good morning. Here," and lifts a pile of 4 books from the table. And
excellent, thank you.
They're quite heavy.
Sorry.
Yes, go steady with those. I hope that they'll be of use. They're ones that I've leafed through and made a note to come back to later, so perhaps it will assist us both if there are another pair of eyes.
Yes, thank you. I'll have a just quick skim of the titles and again pick whichever one just sounds most interesting. So just take the one to sort of start rifling through over breakfast.
Yeah, they are sort of, none of them are on a specific sort of creature. One of them seems to be based more around the southwest. So that's potentially the most sort of pointed book that you may be the most likely to find something in if you wanted to look at that one first.
Yeah, sure.
I think before you get a chance to dig in properly, people are probably starting to filter down from the rooms. Yeah, as you are sort of as people are coming down, James is bringing food through, like hot meat sandwiches. Basically, is what's being provided. The fire is crackling in the corner of the room, sort of condensation on the windows, and it looks like a very crisp late autumn, early winter's day outside. No clouds in the sky, bright blue sky, frost on the grass.
Morning, all.
Morning.
Morning.
There's some books there if anybody else wants to start having a little peruse.
I trust you all slept well.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Very well.
Good. You are welcome to stay as long as necessary, of course. Of course.
I
I'm
am
gonna
settling into sandwiches.
mosey on over to the books and start leafing through them with mild curiosity.
The ones that are piled and given to Constance, or the ones on the shelves, the ones remaining on the shelves?
The piled ones. That's what
Yeah.
you were pointing at, Constance, right, Inga?
Cool.
Yeah, I probably will be sort of like more having a read than properly eating. Just be sort of, sandwich half to mouth and then forgetting it and putting it back down again. As I'm kind of going through. But
Mosling is kind of like leaning, like flicks through the books disinterestedly, and then kind of like starts like trying to encourage Constance to turn the page that she's currently looking at on the book, kind of over her shoulder, like kind of like maybe eating a bit, and then
Constance is not a speed reader.
and then gives up. I rolled 0 successes, maybe indicating the slapdash approach that Mosling has taken this morning to reading his books.
Also, no successes for me on another learning roll.
Probably indicating the distraction that Mosling has provided by.
This is also not her forte, hence the slow reading. But yeah.
If is James still sort of rushing about in a things are on fire sort of way?
Less things are on fire, but more too many spinning plates.
Okay.
I'm going to go through to the kitchen and help him.
If you're going to do that, B, could you perhaps ask James about whether he's heard of that Gladys Pugh? Just.
Oh well.
And yeah, then I might as well flick through one of these books as well, if I'm allowed a learning roll. If that's
yeah, of course, yeah.
Cool. Learning.
The fourth fail of the session at these.
Yeah,
books.
well, that would be ideal. We were talking over the weekend at how like spiky the year 0 system is. It's
Yeah. We'll be asking Constance whether she's ever taken to cooking.
So I'm rolling logic plus learning, so that's 5 plus 2.
Why are you looking like that's the devil's work or something?
There are people for that.
I completely agree.
I do get 1 success.
Okay. We'll bank that for now. B, as you go into the kitchen, James says, please, no, everything's fine. There's like a small fire.
I say nothing, douse a rag in the sink and throw it over the flaming pan, and just sort of get everything, get as much as I can on an even keel.
So it's worth noting that you don't think that James is like bad at his role. he's probably not used to running around after numerous people all at the same time. He's used to being one-on-one, or maybe, one extra person potentially. You don't get the feeling that she throws many dinner parties. So, yeah, he's just been caught a little bit out of his depth.
This is a lot of people for one person to cook for. Let me lend a hand.
All right. Thank you. You set about. And he starts whistling after sort of a couple of minutes. Seems a lot more at ease with an extra pair of hands.
Good. I was wondering whether there's anyone in town that you've heard of with an interest in your lady.
Well, as I think I said, there's a few people showing some kind of negative interest.
She got any hangers on?
No.
We've had
Not
about
I'm aware of.
We've heard about a lady, maybe a new one, someone called Gladys Pugh. The barman didn't recognize the name, but apparently she's been following her around a bit.
Not a name I know either, but to be honest, unless Lady Spencer mentioned her or she'd been up to the house, there's not much chance I'd know anything of her.
Who'd be the best person in town to ask about a newcomer, if not Robert?
I'd have said him, but Lucy Jenkins. She's how would I describe Lucy Jenkins? You'll find her at the bar, probably at the pub. She's we'll say a merchant. That's probably polite, I think.
As in
buys and sells goods.
Right. Yeah, all right.
You'll probably be, well, Robert will be able to tell you if she's in the pub when you are. Yeah, she might be helpful.
Thank
but
you.
as for you, Gladys Pugh, I'm afraid I can't be of help there.
You're going to burn your bacon again.
Oh.
While
Cool. Yeah, what's going on in the living room?
While they've all been looking at their books, I was going to say I've probably had a wander around the grounds a little bit. I had a look around kind of the area around the building, see if there's anywhere, if there's any interesting stuff like on the outside of the house or in the outbuildings or anything like that. But also, I guess, a bit of a wider area because I haven't seen it in the daylight yet. So what sort of setting is it in? Is it absolutely open moorland? Is there like a woodland nearby? Are there other houses, or is it completely alone sort of thing? I guess.
Okay, sure. So you have sort of because it's gated at the front. So as you come in there, the house is ahead of you, and there's sort of a fountain, carriage roundabout thing in the center of the driveway. And then if you're looking at the front of the house, over to the right, there are the cottages, which is where James stays, you believe. There are some stables to the other side. And then the grounds kind of open up to the back. There is some woodland out to the back. Without spending quite a lot of time, you won't be able to tell if there is an area within that which is enclosed, closing the house in, or whether the woodland is used as a barrier to the grounds. And there is a sort of a topiary section out the back of the house. So the back door of the house has a path leading out from it, which kind of has topiary alongside, which leads into some sort of designed gardens, flowered gardens. The kind of thing that you might see in a stately home.
Yeah. This place definitely seems like it has a gardener as well.
Yes, whether or not they're on site all the time or whether they're sort of, a weekly or whatever visitor. Can you make a vigilance roll as well?
Yeah, sure. Let's see, vigilance. I feel like I upped that. Oh, yeah, because my logic's terrible. So 4 dice. Nope. Boo. I want to find a cool thing. Stupid, hard system.
There's obviously nothing to find.
So out the front, out by the lane where it goes by at the front, is it kind of more open moorland, you said, or what's
out of the front of the home?
Mm-hmm.
So you are sort of a dirt road that passes through trees that then takes you out to the main road that you came in
I see. So it is kind of wooded on that bit as well. Cool. Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense. And there's no other buildings of anyone else nearby other than this kind of little enclosed.
No, not. You passed kind of. There is, as you pass through the other side to the town, there is a sort of a small village past this house the other way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's sort of again like half a mile.
Okay, so I can see it down the road, but it's not here. Got it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, yeah, I'll probably return to the main living room like an hour later then.
So everybody's probably eaten and drunk a decent amount
of tea.
Yeah.
I was just saying to everyone, Hux, we should go out onto the road and see if we can find where those lights were last night. A nice walk would do us good.
Good plan. Anyone found a map?
I have a map.
Of course you do.
He does.
That was the prep stage, wasn't it? Didn't you?
Yes, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Which could give you an advantage on a roll if it comes up that you need to roll on something.
I suppose there's no harm in having a look as we go back into the town. I would quite like to stop by the church today, if possible. Have a look at some records and things.
It's early. What's the chances of us getting lost on the moors and never making it to town? Hux fully intends that joke.
Lady Spence was reading a book and kind of puts it down and carries on reading.
Perhaps we ought to speak to the widow or wife as well in town while we're in for the day.
James, it's worth noting as well, James has now that he's finished cooking and everything, and he's checked if anybody requires anything else, and if they don't, he is sitting and having a sandwich as if he's a part of the group.
Wow.
Very progressive.
The presumption of this man.
James here recommended talking to someone at the pub about this Gladys.
Someone
Maybe,
new? Someone new?
It's Lucy Jenkins. Apparently a regular at the bar. Apparently knows a lot of people. Apparently the lady's familiar with her.
She takes advantage of the less fortunate by numerous things that she does. She offers gambling to them with odds that will never be in their favor. She sells them things that she says will appreciate in value and then turn out to be shoes painted in gold paint and
What I'm looking at James's face as she says this. Does James seem like the sort of person that is like, "Oh, I bought one of those shoes," or does he seem like he totally agrees?
one or the other.
Smash cuts to a room full of golden shoes.
How does she live off this sort of thing? It sounds quite transparently nonsense.
I'm still looking at James's face.
With enough confidence, you can persuade someone to continue lending you money or purchasing things off you, even if you never manage to produce any results. I wouldn't know.
And those who feel they have nothing to lose and everything to gain, I'm afraid, are the easiest to take advantage of.
She sounds like an awful piece of work. This is exactly the type of thing that led to everything the last time we were all together. With this, people who've got nothing to lose and then start calling in powers they don't understand. It's very dangerous business and quite immoral.
I also wonder, nothing to lose sounds a bit like our drunk on the donkey might have encountered her a bit. She might have more to tell about him at least.
I'm not sure we should trust anything she has to say, but I think it'd be interesting to speak to her and distrust whatever she says.
Like one of those riddles in a book. Like one of those riddles in a book. Whatever she says, the opposite of it. Never mind.
If you say so.
Oh, you mean the one with the two men at the gate? And yes, I do love a riddle.
Might be an idea maybe for me and Hux to talk to her.
Yeah, you don't need to sully yourself, sister.
And she'll see Moslin coming a mile away.
Don't we all?
Perhaps we're best placed at the church anyway.
Well, I'm going to go wander out on the moors, and once I'm calf high up in mud, I don't think I'll be fit for church or pub.
I
Are you
reckon.
planning on chasing those lights?
Yes.
No.
Oh, in the day, of course, when we can see. I'll be able to see the town on the distance. I won't get lost.
I want to go have a look, but not.
I think we should have a look as we go past, but I'm not sure we'll see much if it's lights in the daytime. Then we ought to see if there's anything strange there, see what things look like in the calm light of day. But frankly, I think we'll see more again at nighttime when lights would shine. And lady, I wonder whether you would be interested in joining us in the evening if we haven't found anything else of interest, if we do decide to go back out again in the evening. And from what we hear, this Gladys person has an interest in this sort of supernatural thing, and that seems to be where she follows. It may be that it also helps draw her out.
In the evening, and not needing to speak to Ms. Jenkins?
No.
Jolly good. I was concerned I would ruin your investigations. Yes, please. Why not return here for... I'm sure James here could make us some food to take out. And yes. Return when you are done, and I shall accompany you, of course.
We'll see what we find, of course, but it's a thought. Perhaps this evening we can reconvene and see if it might be valuable.
Yes.
Bonneville, you've been quiet. You all good with this?
Yes, I think so. I was just wondering, Lady Spence, have you crossed paths with this Lucy Jenkins previously?
No, not exactly. I've just I'm aware of her and her work. she says with some venom.
Okay, we will be discreet.
I'm also going to just tell James that a cold spread prepared in advance might be less effort and less likely to burn. It's quite fashionable these days in London to have a cold spread. That's
Always
all
with
I've
a
got to say
helpful
on that.
advice.
Yes, of course, Mr. Musling Forsmark. Takes another bite of his sandwich.
I guess we better head out then before it gets too late. Get out on the moors this morning in the good light. I'll start making my way out.
Yes, just do go careful up there. Make sure you can always see somewhere you recognise. That's what I'd advise.
Yeah, we got a map. We'll be fine.
Someone's really tempting fate today.
It's easy when you can't read the map.
Literally. I mean, I can read pictures. It's fine. That's something over there.
There's a village over there. There's a village over
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
Who knows which one? Let's roll the dice and see where we go.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like Hux is very much the school of, if I pick a direction and keep walking, there'll be something eventually, probably.
I think that's how he's lived his whole life up till now. It worked all right so far. Well,
You turn up at
Alright.
the pub just before we arrive. Like,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
seem to end up where you need to be. I guess we'll find out.
Okay, cool. Heading out onto the road.
Yep.
Great. So were you planning on trying to spot where you think you saw the lights last night?
Yeah, what we did last time was we marked on the map where we were.
That
we
was
saw
right.
the lights and the direction that they were in, and then we kind of marked where we'd last saw them and the direction they were in. And Mosling was trying to triangulate, and basically the Mosling's plan is to kind of identify that rough patch and then spend the morning wandering around looking for clues in that area of anything like, badger baiters or other people like that.
Yeah.
The non-fantastical explanation for lights in the moors.
Okay.
And Henry will be looking for fantastical explanations.
Yeah.
So, strange hills, weird gnarled trees, landmarks, things like that,
Mosling's happy to keep doing this investigation if once anyone else can go off to town and talk to people and peruse the church. He'll spend his time out there until he feels like he's trod enough of the ground to be confident that he's gone over everywhere it might be.
Okay. But everyone is going up there in the first instance.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
on the way. Happy to have a bit of a time. I wouldn't want to spend too long, but enough to have a bit of a glance and just check if it looks normal or weird somehow.
And I think today seems like it might be safe enough that I'm going to bring Adam along with me. But I'm also going to bring my gun with me. So I don't know what that really says about what B thinks.
it's a nice
So it's
middle ground. Bring my child and my gun. That kind of crossover point.
Yeah.
As long as you're letting Adam hold the gun, then we're probably okay.
So I'm happy to do either a learning style roll, logic style roll to identify where the patch is, or like an observation roll. But either way, I'll be using my advantage for the map.
Yeah, great. Whichever of those is higher, I'm happy with, and then add your extra dice from the advantage from the map.
Well, it's all the same apart from my inspiration, which is actually good. Everything else is fine. Oh, and the map. Oh, okay. I've rolled a lot of sixes. I've rolled 4 6s, so 4 successes.
Okay. Taking out the map after you had sort of put it away last night and marked the points on, you are now very confident that you can triangulate essentially the exact position. Although, actually, they don't. It doesn't seem like they're quite in the same place. So it's whoever it was, as far as Gail's concerned, has probably moved slightly. But you're pretty confident that you've got the range of space. So and without also looking at the map and the topography, because essentially you come off the road into a bit of woodland, and then after a couple of 100 meters it climbs out onto the moor. So but Gail's use of the map has essentially meant that you found the best way to navigate up this, because there's not really paths or anything up here, but you've managed to spot sort of the gentlest way up. So you head up there, and everyone. What I'll do is I'll say that you're looking around, and are you sort of splitting up a little bit to cover more ground while not, losing sight of each other?
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Sort of the plan.
Yeah.
So if you can all make me, it's going to be investigation, probably, isn't it? Rolls. And Justin, I'll give you an extra dice on this as well. We'll say that it's linked to your map use.
And does this count as the wild?
Is this relating to one of your...
I've got hunting equipment, which is +2 to investigation in wilderness.
Yeah, we'll say it is. Yeah.
Awesome.
Are we saying we're looking for a particular thing each, or is this just general? Looking for
if you want to say that you're looking for X thing, like if, for example, you wanted to say you were going to look for footprints, that's fine. If you want to just be covering ground and seeing what there is, that's also fine. But let me know which it is and your result, probably, I would say.
Okay. I would say I'm kind of looking for like anywhere that something could have gone. Like, you know how we've kind of experienced before that like some Vaesen might go into like holes or like gaps in things or places like that, like maybe like a mound they could be hiding under, or burrows, or anywhere that it looks like something has gone here or moved here, but it's maybe not just tracks, but that sort of thing.
Okay.
And I got 2 successes.
Okay, what's everyone else looking for, and what have they got?
No successes for me, and that's probably about right for dice telling a story, because I don't think Constance really knows what she's looking for. She's looking for lights and doesn't think she's going to see any in the daylight, and doesn't know what else is weird. Something else was weird, but it's the wilderness. It's outside.
B was also pretty much just looking for lights, and no successes. 8 dice and no successes.
Wow. I only had 4.
Would binoculars be useful here or counterproductive if it's the sort of thing that...
Depends what you're looking for.
I guess I'm looking for sort of interesting landscape features, things that stand out, things that kind of
Okay, yeah, I would say that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh God, dropping dice already. So that's 5 + 3 + 1. So
could still be 0.
It could still be 0, but it's 2 successes.
Okay.
And Mosling was taking photos of the landscape and the team, but also looking for signs of a physical explanation for lights on the moors.
And how many did you roll? Sorry, Justin? 2.
1 success. 1.
Okay, so Constance and B spend some time looking around. John, I would say that if you were using the hunting equipment, you were probably looking for tracks and that kind of stuff, as well as, looking out for if you could see lights in the daytime, and didn't manage to find anything. I suppose Constance was just sort of wandering and seeing if there was anything that stood out. Hooks, in your search for disappearing places. You at one point stand on what you thought was just sort of a clump of moss, and go knee deep into a bog.
Oh yeah.
And after sort of shaking yourself off from that a little bit, a few minutes later, you round a sort of raised sort of stone outcropping. And around the other side of this, you find a well.
Interesting. That's
which is sort of like that there is still a rope tied to it, but it's frayed sort of a foot down, so you can't and you can't see down it far enough to tell whether it's empty or full or anything.
And is it presumably it looks a little out of place given there's no other structures or building or even paths or anything up here?
It certainly stands out.
A traditional built stone well, as you kind of
stone well. Yeah.
Okay. Is it a really old, state of disrepair sort of thing?
It's not hugely in a state of disrepair apart from the frayed rope and missing bucket.
Okay, that's very strange. I guess.
I mean, it's certainly it doesn't look like it was used yesterday, but it's not like there's a couple of stones that are slightly out of place, but it's not falling apart by any means.
Gotcha. Okay. I will spend a little bit of time as well, and then call people over eventually. But I'll let other people do their things first.
So Henry, using the binoculars, you see slightly closer to town than where you are a stone circle.
Okay.
With the binoculars. And that's the only thing that you spot that's massively of interest through there. Actually, make me a vigilance roll.
Okay, vigilance. My vigilance is going to be logic plus, so 5 dice plus 1, I believe. Yes. So, nothing.
Okay.
No successes.
And Justin, Gale finds evidence of a campfire and sort of an empty tinder box, and sort of around that same area, scattered around, you find little pieces of sort of litter, which maybe this is what you saw. Maybe this is from afar. This could quite easily explain.
Is there any evidence that the fire was lit last night? Either hot and warm embers, or
it's certainly not still warm, but also it's in such a state that it's relatively. It's certainly in the last few days. You would say that this is bit that has been here. You couldn't say definitely last night, but you also couldn't discount last night.
I'll point this out to people.
I guess at some point when I've had a look at the well, I'll call everyone over to the well and just be like, this doesn't seem like the sort of thing you'd expect up here. No sign of people coming here. No one mentioned a well up on the moors. It's a bit odd, isn't it?
Morsung, is it marked on the map?
Is it marked on the map?
It is not.
Turning the map around a few times. No, it's not marked on the map.
Strange.
I fold up so you can't look at it.
I suppose you can't always trust these things completely.
Unsure whether referring to map or moss and force mark.
No comment. I mean, it's a bit unusual, but I mean, it doesn't strike me as particularly supernatural. Are there any? Is anybody familiar with wells being in folklore or other sort of supernatural stories? Nothing that I'm familiar with.
I guess this is a point to ask Jonny. Do we know of anything? That's probably too specific anyway.
Unless there were any in that fairy tale book from last night.
I don't think you would be aware of anything, but I think you would all think that it was near enough to Lady Spence's house for you to be able to ask her about it, and she would probably have some idea of its existence or be able to point you in the direction of something.
I guess Hux will just say, gathering places, they're always significant, aren't they? You know, wells, source of water. Probably something.
It's very odd that it's here, though. I mean,
that's what I was thinking. I mean, it's not even that old, it looks like to me. Someone must know about it, but nothing else here, not a house or track or anything.
Is there any other water around here?
I fell in some just back there.
Drinking
it's not exactly
water.
that dry. Not sure I drink it, though.
You've not passed any streams or anything up here.
Huh.
And there are no signs of sort of like, abandoned buildings or ruins or anything like that around. There's just a well. Strange.
Maybe it was the travellers on the road. Maybe they didn't know you're supposed to build it in the middle of the village. But who knows? Not too far away from town.
Look over to town. Presumably it looks like, not the sort of distance you'd walk to get water, Jonny. I'm kind of doing that.
Having never done such a walk.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm sorry, go on.
Maybe the water down there wasn't good.
Maybe. At that, I'm going to pick up a stone and drop it down the well. Just have a listen.
Yeah.
That's a very sensible, practical thought, B. Yes, maybe it just wasn't very good.
Does it splash?
The stone, you hear it bounce off the side a couple of times, and then you don't hear anymore.
Don't hear a noise of it hitting the ground at the bottom either.
But you would assume that it has hit the bottom, and it's probably soft ground at the bottom, because you would hear a splash. But yeah.
I think I'll kind of take my hair up and go, didn't hear it in water. Must have been soft down there, I guess.
Reckon you could climb down it, Hux? Like a chimney in London.
Do I reckon I could climb down it, Jonny? I suspect not.
Surely we've got more important things to be doing today. This clearly got nothing to do with these lights. Shouldn't we be getting back onto town? No one else has seen anything. I didn't see anything.
There's a stone circle nearer the town, but
yes, that does seem interesting.
There's a what?
A stone circle. I saw it
Well, like
over
one
there
of
in
these
that
heathen
direction.
things.
Stone circles
wouldn't
certainly
know.
seem like the kind of thing that these creatures would be enamored with. And if we're not
Yes.
going to shove Hux down the well, then we might as well walk on.
Before we go,
starting
can I
give you a look like I'm ready to throw you down the well?
well fight? Can I just have a look at the rope before we head off? Just because you said, well, yeah. So it's frayed. You said. I do have a magnifying glass, so I might just have a quick, whether it's.
Do you want to make an investigation plus your. I presume that's what the magnifying glass adds to.
I presume it does. Yes.
Yeah.
I could. It must do. I could check in the book, but
I can't imagine it. It's fine, Steve. I can't imagine it being anything else. I think it's probably fine.
So
It says here agility.
Balancing on the top of the well to study it. Yeah, that makes sense. I would look in the book, but I haven't got 3 hands.
I'm checking the book for you.
Cool. Cheers. Yeah, there's a gear table somewhere that that lists. Well, I got 3 successes.
Provides +1 to investigation.
Yeah, you don't think this has. You don't think the reason that this rope is no longer attached to something is because it frayed? it is frayed now,
Right.
but you don't think that's the initial cause of it no longer being whole.
Oh, okay.
You think it was probably cut at some point.
Right. But that was a while ago. If it's frayed
Long enough, long enough ago for it to have, unless somebody has. And I realise that as GM, me saying this makes it sound like this is the case, but this is just Henry's mind. Unless somebody has purposefully made it look frayed, it's been X amount of time. That's all I'm saying. Is that
going full glass onion with this. This is fine. Cool. Okay. Well, yes. File that one away.
I think Huck's having another momentary idea. It just pats down his jacket and goes, "Oh, hey, anyone got a match?"
There was a tinderbox back at the campsite.
Campsite?
The campsite. I know you're not listening to me, Hux. You never pay enough attention. I've always said.
Oh,
but at the campsite's just back over there that I pointed out.
If we wanted to have a closer look, we could always drop something lit down there before we go.
I'm all for starting a small fire and chucking it down the well.
I'll let you lead me back to the tinderbox and then presumably try and light something with it if that's possible, Jonny.
We're going to chuck a flaming bunch of straw down the well.
Flaming bunch of heather. Heather will be dry and burn all right.
Yeah.
Will there be heather this far south? It doesn't matter.
We're on the moors,
There's heather. There's heather
okay.
down south.
If we've had some burning sage,
some of the
down
best
the well,
quality heathless in the country is in Wimbledon Common. So I'll have you know.
We are calling it a moor, but we're in Cornwall, right?
Yeah, some of the best moors in the country down in south.
Okay, I know nothing about
the
south.
Don't bring out your moor knowledge to us.
Just saying, I thought further south they were called heaths.
Were written.
You are on
Heath is
Bodmin
quite a
Moor.
different thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Anyone who's looking down the well as you throw this stuff down, make a vigilance roll, please.
If we see a long-haired girl in a white sort of long dress crawling up the well, I'm not going to be happy.
2 successes.
No successes.
All 5 of us had our heads peeping around the well, didn't we?
1 success.
I think I am more preoccupied with making sure Adam doesn't fall down it.
Because he's also peeping
over. Anyone with successes as the heather... You don't realise at the time that it's as it reaches the bottom until it goes out because it reaches the bottom. But as it reaches the bottom, you get the... like a sort of split-second glance of what you believe to be a human skeleton.
I knew you were going to say that.
Did anyone else see that?
I couldn't see anything.
I think I did.
Yes, I think so.
Must be the last person who tried to climb down the well.
Yeah. I'll look to B and then to Adam for a sec.
We'll go look at the camp.
I think this is. I don't think we should. I know you were joking, Mr. Mosling Forsmark, but yes, I don't think we should be jumping down the well. It is obviously quite dangerous. I think perhaps when we go to the church, we can ask if it's a known issue and see if we can get the remains recovered and properly buried.
Yeah, we better add skeletons. So that ain't our drunk fellow.
Yeah, probably not enough time for the drunk fellow to decompose.
I wonder if there's anyone else missing.
Yes, there had been some disappearances like a long time ago, hadn't there?
The events, the carriages and things had been a year or so ago, I think.
Check my notes.
John?
The church would know.
Yes.
Can you please make me an observation roll?
Yes. Oh no.
Love it when the GM's rolling some dice.
Opposed roll? What could that mean?
1 success.
Okay. Everything's fine.
Okay.
Continue as you were.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Is Adam still there?
Adam's still there, and you make your way to what you presume to have been a campsite with no issue whatsoever.
Adam's not a changeling yet.
Right. I'm going to have a look around this campfire and see probably whatever Mosling didn't notice. Because it's Mosling, so of course there was something he didn't notice.
Yeah, so
Functional group.
I'm happy now for you to make an additional roll because you're looking at something different now. As much as Vaesen kind of says to keep a roll for a while, I'm happy that this is now kind of a separate scene. So do you want to make an investigation roll and you can use your hunting stuff again?
Excellent. That is 1 plus nothing. Just the 1.
Okay. You are confident that this fire is not from last night.
Okay.
Like it's at least 2 days old, you think?
Well, maybe the campsite's not too unusual. I mean, that person who we thought was following us. Maybe we scared him. Maybe it's just some traveler staying on the road or something. It's maybe not quite unusual.
I've travelled a fair bit in my time, and it doesn't really seem like the sort of place you just happen to wander through and camp. I mean, sure, there's a well here, but I'm not sure there's any water down there. We're well off the beaten track, and there ain't any routes coming across. That's right, Jonny. It doesn't seem like the sort of place you would just camp while you were walking A to B.
You've not seen. You certainly didn't come on a path up here, and on your time scouting out up here, you haven't seen a set path.
Yeah, and I'll just say, yeah, if anyone was camping here, I reckon they meant to come to this spot to camp here.
Maybe not everybody's as knowledgeable as you are about the best camping spots, Hux.
It's possible.
Could it have been the person that we saw last night?
Well, exactly. It might well have been.
This fire wasn't from last night, I don't think.
Well, maybe they were there the night before and we scared them off coming back last night.
I could imagine running into us on a dark road would be enough to scare anyone.
Well, exactly. You're a very imposing figure.
I mean, Hux is there.
I don't know. Did he look like the kind of guy who'd be camping on the moors?
I'll look at Bonneville for a second. No, I suppose not. Should we check out this circle?
Yeah, sounds good. I'm not sure we're going to find much more here. I'm definitely not going down there now.
I mean, we can tie a rope onto you.
You're much lighter. Why don't we hold you and you go down first?
It's true.
No, nobody should be going down that well. It's quite ridiculous. We'll get that properly addressed.
We get a boy to go down there.
No.
Not Adam, obviously.
Let's move on.
So yeah, I guess I'll strike off towards the stone circle if we can plot a path with a map and the binoculars, that sort of thing. Just take a bearing.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of from where you are, because you're sort of almost at a peak here. As much as it's not very high, Moreland, you're sort of at the top, at least in this area. So you're sort of heading very slightly downhill towards the towns. It's pretty easy for you to spot your way there.
Well, while we're on the way as well. Sorry.
It's okay. I was just going to say it's at such a distance that you wouldn't have really been able to spot it with your bare eyes, because there are sort of like, grassy outcroppings and things that could easily have been mistaken for it. So, go on, Sam.
While we're on the way over as well, I will have just when Adam's playing, perhaps on a tussock or something, I'll just say to be about the skeleton at the bottom of the well, so you know as well.
Appreciate it.
For the stone circle, then, Jonny, is it still? I know we're going a bit further off the moors and stuff, but is it still vaguely in the direction of town, or are we really veering?
No, yeah, you're heading closer to town here.
Okay,
So it's almost parallel to the road from where you were. So you're sort of walking in a straight line parallel to the road. As you approach, what you see is that it's actually 3 stone circles. And then there are also a couple of other stones standing off to the side on their own, just 2. Who do you think would be wandering first? Henry?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Can you make a vigilance roll for me, please?
Sure.
And in fact, Sam, can you make a vigilance roll as well, please?
So again, that's going to be 6 dice. 2 successes.
Nothing above a 3. Ouch.
Wow.
Okay. Henry is about to put his foot down to take a step, and then realizes that he's about to step into quite a large boggy area. And then after sort of taking a moment, spots that there is a safe path through, but there are sort of numerous sections of bog around here, and safe ways through. But you need to, and they're not hard to see if you are paying attention. But if you're just walking as you were and not necessarily,
sure, yeah.
As you presumably see Hux happily doing nearby.
Watch your footing. There's it seems quite treacherous around here.
I just sink into like the knee and go, oh!
I think I'm happy for Hux to have not sunk in. I was asking you to roll because you knew that those areas were here.
Gotcha.
And so it was more to see if Henry rolled badly, you might have been able to.
I'm quite enjoying playing Hux as like he's really world wise, but actually he's sort of more of a city guy than anything else, and he likes to pretend he knows the countryside, but he doesn't. So.
Just when I thought you couldn't get any more soggy. So what do we think this is? Some sort of trap by these creatures to lure these circles? Or is it some sort of way of luring people into the bogs or something?
I think it's just a bog.
Well, but with all these circles, and there's some. I don't like it.
I'm surprised that the circles are still standing if this ground is so treacherous.
So the boggy area probably ends 20 meters away from the stones. Still close enough for it to be a strange placement, but
well, perhaps the stones are a warning. I know nothing about stone circles.
When we're talking stone circle, Jonny, are we talking like, stone circle twice head height, or are we talking like, little stubs out the ground?
Spinal tap stone circle.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I will get you a picture.
Ooh, very nice.
Ooh.
Is this a stone circle, or is this a chalk outline of a huge pair of balls on a massive chalk man?
Well, I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out.
Love it.
The latter.
That'd be very odd.
There were 3 circles, right?
There were 3 circles and 2 separate stones.
Now, what is the name of this man so we can like tell people to go Google it who aren't from Britain and have no idea what we're talking about?
Is it like the something the
Chalk
cheese
Man of the
man
Downs
or
or
something?
something like that? Oh, he's got a proper name, doesn't he? Yeah. It's great. Whatever it is.
This is a sidetrack.
The long
It's the
man
long-
of the down of
The long
Wilmington.
man of the
That's
downs.
it.
I see. Right.
The long man of Wilmington, who does have 2 rather great nipples.
Oh yeah, I
circles.
remember that.
And
Yeah.
there are 3 circles that make up his eyes and mouth. His testicles aren't circles, obviously. They are attached to the penis, a la a children's drawing of a penis.
Hang on,
like
the
a
version
girl
I'm
textbook.
looking at doesn't have genitals.
There's
Oh, there is
quite a few.
definitely.
God.
You want the
John's looking at the censored version.
yeah, the censored
Oh,
version.
the Cern Abbas Giant.
Ancient peoples did
has-
multiple versions, you know.
The
Oh, is it
Cern
the Cer-
Abbas Giant has genitals
that's
and a
my bad.
huge club that is unrelated
on,
to the genitals. It's an
This is
actual
quite a
club.
sidetrack, by the way.
It is.
I promise we're
Poor
enjoying
Johnny.
the story too, Johnny, but this is only
I'm enjoying the story.
What John was looking at was the chalk Ken of Guernsey.
Is there a chalk? I don't.
Anyway, here's an image.
Anyway, here's an image.
It's not of that. There you are.
Right.
Very pretty.
All right,
Okay.
okay.
Sort of middle sized
Um,
then.
Yeah, so they're not the size of a person, but they're not little rocks in the floor either. They're probably waist height, I think.
Can we see? Can we see any sort of like markings, carvings, engravings, something other than? Is it just a block of stone, or is there anything that's kind of bespoke or customized around it, other than the person?
No, they just seem to be blocks of stone, and then as you can see, they're not uniform in any way. But yeah, it's not like any of them have dates on or inscriptions of verse or anything like that.
Is this on your map?
Is it on the map?
It is, though it's not labelled, and it's quite small on the map. That they almost look like sort of 3 dots on the map, and you wouldn't have picked them out without knowing that they were here.
Perhaps, although I'm not entirely sure it's not just a smudge. Maybe. I think there are. Yes, they're on the map.
I guess
Is
I'll
there
try
any-
to take a note of the sort of the relative positionings. Try to figure out whether there's any significance. But
I'm going to
Given.
write on the map so that I can't, because I think I could lose them and not be able to find them again, even on the map, if I wasn't careful.
How old is the map?
Well, it was from the house, and so who knows how old the maps there are. There's a date on it.
Yeah, I don't think you would have had a date. No.
No, there isn't. That's just my writing. That's the train times.
There was a book about this general area back at the house. Perhaps now that we know what we're looking for, we can look at, maybe there's some history about the stones or something that might be of interest. But
And we're sure this wasn't where that light was coming from, right? Force mark.
No, this is some distance away. I think the light was coming much more from where that campfire was, but or maybe near the well. But it's not. Like it's as you've just seen. It's a walkable distance.
Yeah, no, I was just curious. Is there any sign of like tracks or like, is it obviously well tread this area, or is it similar to where we were Johnny?
No, it's not any more obviously trodden than where you were.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
As you will all be aware, the world is moving more towards science and technology than anything of this sort of ilk now. So it may have been quite frequented in the past, hundreds of years ago, even potentially. But certainly now, people may wander through it by accident. You doubt that many people at all would come here on purpose for any particular reason.
I'm going to take some photos of this circle.
I'm going to have a sit down and lean on one of the stones and close my eyes for a minute.
do you have a special skill, or are you just going to sleep?
That
is a special skill.
I'm a bit tired. I just fancy to lie down. Honestly, I'm 55 years old. I've been tramping
Mm.
across a moor. I fancy
Yeah,
that.
sure.
Yeah, being able to sleep when you need to is the real skill. That's a damn good skill.
When you need to, and standing up just leaning against a stone outdoors in October, November, whatever it is now.
Mm.
Oh, I might start like sitting up properly, but I slump after a few minutes.
Oh, amazing.
It took the British Army a whole century to learn what Hux has learnt about sleeping while standing up.
Snoring.
I'm gonna let Adam run around for a bit and try and keep a close enough eye on him that he's not going to disappear into a bog hole or something.
Sensible.
Can any of you remember any stories about? I don't know whether I just have in my head that like floating lights might appear to lead travelers astray. Is that a thing? Is that?
Well, like I said, perhaps it's some sort of trap luring people into a dangerous area. I think it's quite possible. I don't know what sort of I mean, any number of awful beings could do such things. None specifically that I know of.
I've heard of will-o'-the-wisps that live on moors, but I think that people in various parts of the country call them all kinds of different things. Maybe these, a lot of these stories obviously are going to be people mistaking lights out on the moors for something, but surely some of them are people like us who can see things, and who knows, maybe it's a few different creatures that can emit light.
I mean, I've heard the name, but I don't really know anything about. I mean, do they lure people? Do they have circles? Do they capture or kill people?
I think so.
We used to have lights in the forest that I grew up in. I remember
alive? You're still alive?
I mean, the one time I saw one, it led me to safety. But my dad always warned me about them, leading people into rivers or
Down wells?
into bogs. I suppose they like water.
Well, then maybe the light that you saw was a helpful person with a light or something. Then, and these other the actual creatures are the ones that are.
It wasn't a person.
People.
Could it have been an angel? I say, looking at Constance.
I mean, what does an angel look like?
Maybe a floating light? I think that's how they appeared to the shepherds. Be not afraid. Anyway, I also am... speaking of water, I could be led to water right now. Specifically the malted kind and hopped.
Right. Were you not going to join me at the church, Mr. Mosling?
Yeah, I thought we agreed to keep you away from Jenkins.
All right. If that's the belief, if that's the general attitude, then I'm more than happy to go to the church and admire the architecture.
Miss Bonneville, will you be joining us?
Certainly, yes. Let's head off.
Right. Well, shall we meet you back here at the pub? Perhaps as the central point once we're done.
We'll get hot drinks ready for you.
Wonderful. All right. Well, we'll see you soon. Be safe.
I'll go wake Hux up.
It takes more effort than you'd like. Although maybe you sometimes think that
I just kick you in the knee until you wake up.
Wow. Sometimes you think it's because Huck is deliberately not waking up rather than, actually not being woken up. I wake up with a smile. And then go, ow.
Come on, pub.
Oh, they've gone. Nice surprise. And then, yeah, I will stretch and happily wander off to the pub with you.
Adam, get off that rock.
Cool. So you wander back to town. You're probably still it's nearing lunchtime by this point. So you've still got probably 5 hours of light left, you think? So Gale and Constance are going to the church and the other 3 are going to the pub. All right.
I think I'm going to the church as well.
To the church. Okay. Right, cool. Yeah, let's do the church first. So you it's a lovely stone building. Constance, I imagine, is delighted at the state of it. It's very well kept up. You know, candles in all the candle holders, and you if she pays particular attention, notices that the you know, the candles all look very sort of clean and tidy, and you think in fact that the melted wax is being trimmed away from around the bottom of the candles and potentially remelted to the top, or being used to make other candles. You're not sure, but everything is sort of pristine in here. How Constance probably thinks God's house should be kept, I imagine.
It's almost disappointing not to find something to be disapproving of.
Yeah. And light is spilling through the stained glass window. And I think, you know, probably Henry and Gale even, you know, it's a very nice setting, you know, when you wander in. No parishioners, nobody in the pews.
What day of the week is it?
Wednesday.
Wednesday, thank you. The only day that matters is Sunday or not Sunday.
Yeah, not Sunday. In fact, the furthest it can be from Sunday. Probably. And yeah, but you do hear sort of a shuffling at the top of the church. And after a moment, if you haven't made your way up there, you see a man dressed in as a vicar appears. Good lunchtime, I suppose. How are you all? Please, can I? Do you want to be left?
No. It's lovely to speak to you. I was actually hoping we could speak to you about some records. We're new to town, and there's quite a lot that's been going on, really. And I would love to take some time once we finished our business to have a quiet moment here in the church. It's beautifully kept, but unfortunately there is some business as well, and we were hoping we could look over some records of the church, and obviously the keepers of so much knowledge here for the town.
You notice that when you say that you were hoping to look for records, his face sort of dropped a little, and then when you said that you did actually want to spend some time in the church, he sort of perked up again. Yes, of course, please. The records are kept through here. Let's. Yes, please follow me.
Thank you so much.
And he leads you all through to a room which is slightly dustier than the rest of the church. You think this is probably the area that he cares about the least. Right. What exactly is it you're looking for? Can I help with anything?
It's probably just town people records, really. We've been we've spoken with Lady Spence about various matters, but we'd heard that there was a woman who'd been following her, that others they've not heard of her. And I was hoping we could look at some records and see if she is. Even the barman hadn't heard of her, and I just thought it was a bit odd. And I thought the church always has the answers. And the name was Gladys Pugh. I also thought with a name like that, she might possibly be involved in the church in some way. But yeah, as I say, I was hoping we could just look through some records and see if there's any sense we could make of it here.
Sounds quite concerning that somebody's following Lady Spence. That sounds. I'm afraid I don't know the name. But please, if you're, as far as I'm aware, she's not somebody who was born in the town. But as you may be able to tell, I'm not originally from here. So the birth records. Do you know roughly the lady's age?
We had a rough estimate that she wasn't an old woman; she was a younger woman. I think I'm remembering that right. So I mean, certainly this century, but you're not a child either.
Okay, so you probably want to be. He sort of pulls down a box and opens. Yes, I think if she's going to be here, I think she'll be in there.
Thank you. There was actually something else that not what we expected as we were walking here, but we did come across a well on our walk into the town, and distressingly, we saw a skeleton down there, and it's obviously incredibly distressing. And I mean, obviously, my first thought was that the church was the right place to come to make sure that this person got properly put to rest, and maybe even ask whether it's a known issue or whether maybe we can help put some poor family at ease by providing some knowledge about someone who's maybe passed away. Maybe there's some death records or missing persons. I don't know. Like this is all very new. I'm not really sure what to make of it. We just spotted this as we came walking into town.
Is there perhaps a police constable who visits the town or based in the town that we could talk to?
I was going to advise that it would probably be best to yes. Your friend is very wise. I'm afraid there's not very much I can do in the first instance there, but yes, we don't have a police station, as it were, here, but somebody does come 2 days a week. One day they actually use the church on a Thursday to talk to the residents about any concerns. So perhaps if you wanted to return tomorrow, you'd be able to speak with them.
Yes, if we're not here tomorrow, would you raise it?
Yes, of course, yes.
I'd say where we're staying and say they can always call on us if they want any more information.
I will. I'll leave you to your search for this Gladys. But if I don't speak to you before you go, please do pass on my regards to Lady Spence.
It's been a while since she's been to the church, I understand.
I'm afraid so. Unfortunately, when the flock turn on one sheep, there's very little you can do to... Well, anyway, I'm sorry. I have some things to attend to, but I'll just be out in the church if you need me.
No nonsense. You must show me around. The stained glass windows, they look quite something. And I'm going to step out, leaving Constance with the books, and we'll be waxing philosophical about the stained glass windows, but also about the priest's opinion about whether angels appear as lights that could save passers-by on rivers. These are the things. Though that we're going to keep him entertained.
We're going to get barred, aren't we?
I think Constance probably hears a, well, I do actually have a very interesting theory about that. As they leave the room, you gain nothing of any use from this conversation, Justin, but you muted. You muted.
Still muted. It's like a nightmare. You're screaming and no one can hear you. I was going to ask.
Not working.
I was going to ask you if you were going to stick with me and look to comb through the books, or whether you were going to join the vicar chat. You're also on mute. Are we all on mute?
You're not
I
on
can
mute,
unmute.
Inga. And Sam
I'm
can
fine.
unmute.
Steve, you're on mute as well.
Oh, no.
Is this actually a stream issue? Why can you unmute, John?
You're showing us muted to me as well, John.
That's
Oh,
really
no.
weird. What is?
No.
Yep, I can mute and unmute just fine.
Horror element to the whole story. It's like slowly we
That
lose
is
our
really
voices.
creepy. Just scared to ever press the button again in case.
Okay, let's. Inga, you can roll to see whether you find any information.
Is this a learning again?
Yes,
Am I back?
Yep.
you are.
That was
Hey.
weird.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Steve.
Hello.
You're back.
And
Right.
hello.
Obviously,
Can you hear
That
the
was
angels
really
took great exception to
Obviously,
transmitting audio between computer devices.
exactly. There's too much. There's too much.
Yeah, we know too much. That's it.
Mm.
Well,
I
apparently, Justin.
didn't get any
Steve, and
successes on the
John.
learning roll. With
That's
the
fine.
Okay, Steve, is Henry helping, or
Yes.
is Henry going? Okay, cool. Yeah, make a learning roll, please.
Learning. Okay.
I'm hoping you're better at this than I am. This is not at all what
5
she's good at.
dice plus 2. Nothing.
Okay.
There is a concept of pushed rolls, isn't there? But you take a condition.
I am going to tell you that there is nothing to be found.
Very kind.
Yeah, you spend. What I will say is you just spend a lot of time poring over it to realize that there's nothing there, essentially.
Justin is currently. I didn't know whether Justin was frozen there or just remaining very still.
I'm
Go on, Justin.
the only thing I was going to say when it comes to the books and scouring the records is there. I know I'm trying to remember how much of this we talked about, like out of character versus whether anything was said in character about ghosts, because something like that I don't think would have occurred to Constance in terms of this person following her around. But I can't remember whether we talked about any of that in character or not. Because if so, having not found anything, she might reluctantly suggest looking at some older records, but otherwise it wouldn't occur to her, I don't think.
I was going to use my journalist talent, which is you may use inspiration rather than manipulation when trying to charm someone for information.
Okay.
My whole pumping for information thing, to try and get a bit more information about that kind of when the flock turns on someone thing, and get the juicy details out of the priest. He obviously likes to gossip. You know, no priest I know doesn't like to gossip. You know, so
Two places you're going to get the info: the church gossip, the bar gossip. This is the two places to go in town.
I would like to make that roll if that's okay.
Yep, that's
which I
fine.
get 8 dice for. So hopefully some of them can.
Have you asked the vicar his name yet?
Mr. Vicar. So far, I've rolled no successes on 7 of the dice, but on the 8th, I rolled a 6.
Wow.
So 1 success.
Well, yes. I mean, as you'll know, I'm sure Lady Spence does have some.
She has elaborate interests, fanciful.
Yes, elaborate. That's the word I was thinking of. Thank you. And
no man in the house.
Well, quite. But as a somebody who delivers God's word, but does not claim to be able to pass his judgment, I, of course, still welcomed her in, but there are some members of the community who unfortunately take it upon themselves to well, yes, as I said, dish out judgment as if they were the Lord themselves. And while I can tell them that that's not appropriate, the damage was already done, I'm afraid.
People are trying to take the speck out of someone else's eye before they've. No, indeed. Well, quite. Well, I mean, I wouldn't. Obviously, it's such a challenging issue, but was it one person? Tell me who they are so I can avoid them.
Oh, I'm afraid it was many.
Many. Oh, it'd be difficult to avoid all of them. Are that? Was it? These people. Was it the pub? Was it the pub? Was it the community?
I would say most of the community. They really they in that moment turned from a flock into a herd, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
And almost all as a group turned against Lady Spence. And I mean, it never became vicious or, well, not physically, but yes, she was quite cast out from the group, as it were.
Was Dan amongst this missing Dan? Was he amongst those who were against her?
I'm afraid Mr. Penhaligon is another who had not strayed from the flock, but he made it to church when he could.
But he couldn't miss out on that communion wine.
You are, yes, quite right.
Well, like I said, beautiful Stations of the Cross. I think really these are, for the church this size, absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
I really should check on Mr. Bonneville and Sister Constance.
Yes, of course. But please come back anytime.
Yes. Well, you know what they say, none's the word, and I disappear through the door.
You look ashamed.
That's all I got. That's all I got, guys. I had a lot of ideas that I didn't use, so please bear in mind there's so many jokes I wanted to make.
I feel like that's equally
and can be saved for future interactions with the Reverend, of course.
Just the next 20 minutes of nothing but Gail making puns, and then we end the session. Truly, this will be a horror show.
Wow. We're going to have to bring this vicar back as a recurring character just so that we can wheel all of these out.
Are you done with regards to your investigations in the church?
My only thought that Mosling would have is if this was a ghost, like we could be dealing with a ghost situation here where the person who fell down the well could be a ghost. I don't think ghosts are real, but if there were ghosts, maybe this person could be this woman could be a long dead person who's a ghost now because no one's seen her. So I might want to walk around the graveyard, but also talk to the police person.
Yeah, I was thinking likewise of wandering around and checking the graves on a gentle meander through, After having thanked the vicar profusely for his time.
Maybe if you guys are doing that, then Constance will take a bit of time to pray and maybe just have some general, I guess, churchy small talk with
religious bands.
Yeah, religious bands. But just the kind of usual about isn't it a shame? Fewer people
chat with Jesus recently.
Church. Hopefully, it's you still get a good crowd. All that, but less me, more Constance. Less about having a good crowd at church. You know what I mean?
Oh, I love this roleplay thing.
It's just some of that general, but that kind of chit chat and empathizing that. Yeah, not what it used to be, and the times are changing and that kind of thing. And then taking some time to have a bit of a pray and just enjoy the calmness and the space and the peace and stuff.
Okay, let's cut to the pub and see what's been going on there. So, being Hooks, what are you planning?
So I guess first of all, I'd probably just go up to the what was it? Thomas? Was it? No, Robert.
I
Robert.
think.
Robert. Yeah, the guy at the pub. Presumably, it's open. This time of the day. Are there folks in, or is it pretty quiet? I guess pretty quiet, mid afternoon or something.
It's lunchtime, so there's actually some people in. They serve sort of sandwiches and little bits at lunchtime. It's certainly not a roaring trade, but there are a few people in.
Mm-hmm. Oh well, I guess I'll go up to the bar and order some food first of all, and then greet Robert and just say, any sign first of all of that miscreant who maybe followed us out the other night?
Hello again. No, not seen since.
Yeah, not really surprised. Well, give us a shout if you hear any more about him anyway.
Of course, yes. Did you order any drinks as well? Because he'll be sort of making whatever whether it's tea or, if you're looking for something harder at midday, then he would happily provide that as well.
Yeah, I'll probably get a beer, and then I'll look over at B.
If it's cold weather, I don't know if it's too early for like warm cider, like heated. I don't want to say mulled, but like something.
He would do that, yeah.
Cool. Maybe that and some, I don't know, hot something child friendly. I don't know. Yeah.
Right, you are. There you are, young man.
Whilst he's
getting
getting his drinks as well, I'll say we just had a bit of a wander over moors up there. A few interesting sights to see. The Stone Circle not far out of town. Doesn't look like anyone goes there much though anymore. Any old stories about that?
Oh, well, they say that there was some people playing an old Cornish game, but it was on a Sunday, so they got turned to stone as a punishment. Nothing apart from that. That's the old origin story of the stones there.
No one.
Yeah, it's nice up there, especially on a morning like this morning, if that's when you've been up.
Yeah, not many go up there nowadays though.
Nah, different areas of the moor probably more popular, especially people taking kids up, and there's the bogs up there. Yeah.
Are there any popular campsites?
I mean, this time of year, the moor's quite unforgiving. I would imagine the woods would be more popular than up on the moors. People passing through who come here, more than the once tend to be staying in town, and I'd imagine it's only people passing through that would probably camp, and if they've just stayed there the one night, don't always hear where they're staying.
We spotted a well up there as well. It was a bit odd, middle of nowhere. You know of it?
Yeah, I think I happened across that once actually. Hidden away, is it? A little bit. Yeah. Don't know nothing about it, mind, I'm afraid.
Yeah, just curious. Odd thing to see up there, though, wouldn't it?
Nothing else about. For a while.
Yeah. I imagine somewhere in your lady's library might be she's got some stuff on the local area, I think. Local historical society as well. Actually, they might be able to help.
Oh yeah. Anyone? Anywhere we should go, or anyone we should find for them?
They're hang on a minute. Yeah, they're meeting here tomorrow night. Actually, as it happens.
I look over at the notice board, but then realize I can't read it.
You can read the days of the week, surely.
Yeah, but I guess I don't know what he's looking at because it says a historical society on it, unless it's got a picture that makes it obviously historical.
Right. We'll bear that in mind for tomorrow then.
Yeah. You sticking around a while, are you? You still got some threads to follow for Dan?
Aye. They're
Good.
yeah.
Good.
Not planning on going anywhere yet, at least. There's someone a bit more local who we would hope we might want to have a word with.
Oh yeah?
A Lucy Jenkins.
He sort of leans to the side of you.
Oh.
And surreptitiously turn. Yeah. You see somebody who she's not in fine clothes, but her clothes are certainly finer than the rest of her appearance looks like she would be wearing, if that makes any sense. And she is sitting opposite somebody at a table, and she has a little book that she's sort of scrawling in. And then the person sat opposite her hands her some money, and she takes it and puts it in a little pouch and puts it in her coat pocket, inside pocket.
Got it.
Does it look like the other person is done and is leaving?
Yeah, they sort of nod, almost like a thank you, and then get up and head out of the pub.
Oh, I kind of look to you, Bingo. You want me to come over with you?
I mean, I don't know. She seems more your kind of person, Hux.
So why did we want to talk with her anyway? What does she know?
She might know Pew.
Oh, I see. And just anything else strange going on. All right. And I down my beer and then go wander over to her.
She looks up at you and says, "Good afternoon, Mr. Huxley."
Well,
and we'll leave it there.
Fun. Love it. I think I'm going to like this lady.
Are you?
Like as in fun competition.
You know
Right.
what we said about how next time we're gonna be like, no, we're not gonna stop there, Jonny. Can we pull the card?
Keep going. 5 more minutes.
Intriguing.
Cool.
The plot thickens.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat and we can discuss them. Links to things below the video: YouTube, social media, Discord, Patreon. Wednesday nights we do Simba Room. We do this on Mondays, and the next one shot is the 22nd of January, and it's the One Ring. That all went well. And hopefully I wasn't muted the entire time.
The entire story, Jonny. We've just been running with it.
We've been doing it through like we've been trying to intuit what you were saying every single time using ESP.
It worked.
Hopefully.
And And you all found the massive stash of diamonds that I provided to the party.
I so very much want to start doing web searches on wells in Bodmin, but I'm not going to.
I know. Oh,
Not
it's
allowed.
fun. I really
Allowed.
enjoy finding those things on the moor. It's like,
was good.
everything feels like the plot thickens. It's fun. Oh, the skeleton at the bottom. Oh.
That was good. And to think we might have just missed the skeleton.
I know.
Yeah. Like if you're investigating a moor, you're gonna find a dead body.
Yeah, it's true.
That's just the rules.
Normally it's a sheep, but like I still think we should put a Hux down the well.
I would like to see you try and put Hux down the well.
Well, I'm like, obviously, I'm not gonna like put you down the well. I'm like, I think we should have, persuade
Talk
Hux
you
to
into
go down
it.
the well. Yeah,
Yeah, just persuade just a long,
I mean,
arduous
like,
conversation. Eventually,
there's a
I'll
version of
give in.
this where the entire story is just Moslin going, "How much would it be, Hux, to go? How much would I have to pay to go down that well?" And Hux just be like, "5 bob," like Very well this time. You've got me this time, Hux.
As if Hux would like trust a check that you give him, though.
No, I would take
True.
the check and then not go down the well.
How many points before or after the well trip?
But if you do that, then I wouldn't keep paying you. This way you can get lots of cash.
But to be fair, you didn't say I had to go down the well immediately in that case. So, I might promise to go down the well at some point.
I suppose if I'm going to play juvenile games, I should expect juvenile games played in reverse.
Juvenile games or, typical devil contract kind of
You've
stuff.
got me there
Yeah,
this
exactly.
time, Hux. Very well played. Good man, good man.
I'm so glad this didn't happen in the session.
I agree. Yeah.
Unfortunately, whatever happens
no.
when the ghosts/angels interfered with our stream, I lost all of the comments. So I can't flash them up, but I can read them from the Twitch chat.
That's good.
We had confirmation from Justin that this is a moor and that I was wrong. It's not just a moor if it's in the north. And the difference between a moor and a heath is a moor is generally highland in high rainfall zones, whereas a heath refers to lowland zones
Best
which
comments.
are more likely to be a result of human activity, and a dale is a valley, but you didn't tell me what a glen was.
It's just another kind of valley, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess
Just
so.
valleys. Like rivers. There's 100 words for them.
Mm-hmm.
That was the
and then
educational
also-
part of our stream.
Yeah, shortly after the penis part of the stream.
that happened backstage. Oh no, we did that.
That sounds
No,
even
we
worse.
had that
That
conversation.
just sounds like that just sounds even worse.
Different penis bit, John. Different bit.
Wait, which one are we talking about now? I'm confused.
Oh my
Look,
god.
we have a lot of very old penis graffiti in the UK. We can't help it.
It's true. They're so old. They're like part of our national culture. That's what's going to happen to the
And-
Monty Python sketches in 1,000 years.
True.
Well, that sets the tone for 2023. Oh well.
I can't remember whether you got thanks on our Saturday stream, but if you didn't, thank you to Clash Vaughan for following us.
Thanks.
I also like how 42 and I think Jonny both came to the same Angels with 1,000 Eyes joke in the private chat and the Twitch chat. Just shows that we're all aligned. We're all going down the same road together in terms of sense of humor and tone.
I really enjoyed the vicar finding you hilarious. That was really
Good.
enjoyable to me.
I'm glad that you enjoyed it and didn't find it really frustrating. What I wanted to do was continue to make parallels about like kind of vague statements, aphorisms like, oh yeah, the road that God leads us down, the path, the infrastructure routes, and just all of my insightful things are really things that you can just say about roads.
Yeah.
But
I liked. Sorry, go on.
But yeah, it just sounds sufficiently religious that the vicar's like, yeah, that is true. There's a bridge over the river of life, something like that.
I really liked how you kept saying like the first half of like religious idioms and they're sort of going, you know what I mean?
Everyone would know what he means, though, in the Victorian. Well, not like everyone would know what he means.
Does Mosling know what he means?
I like Mosling not really be confident in his map reading skills and hiding.
That was amazing.
Yeah. I love it that you'd actually got like Jonny have been, yes, it's this, and then you're like,
you can't.
No, you can't look at the map.
I've got the map.
I did say this in the Twitch chat as well, but I really like seeing like a sort of less spiky version of Constance as she finally got to talk to one of her people, kind of. That was
cute.
That was nice.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that Constance would come in and be like the nun thing that some nuns do, where they're like, a priest is below me on the pecking order. I'll just tell them what to do. Like, when you walk a mile in a nun's shoes, they're like, oh, this is the fucking village priest. Get me your records now. Do you have any idea who I am? I'm from this convent.
This is another person of God. They are obviously a moral, upstanding, good person, unlike the rest of you lot.
If that wax had been still on those candle holders, now then it might have been different.
Well, quite.
Cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Hopefully see you next week or on Wednesday for Simba Room. Yeah, cool. Catch you later. Bye.